So this whole first book is really about them going out to recon and finding out what the lay of the land is for the insect community. It was never really meant in the beginning for them to go out and try to conquer or do anything like that. It was really just a reconnaissance type mission to find out where man stands in the whole scheme of everything. And then when it gets to book 2, it kind of escalates a little bit because they start to build a place, a fort called Stonewall, right there at the foot of the oldest tree that what I had mentioned to you earlier. And so everything comes together with the Micronauts and the Tree of Life right there and the resonance. And so that's when they start figuring out this is not a conquering thing, this is a balance thing.
Wow. Okay. Man, this is even more than even I thought it would be. You know, I mean, it sounded super interesting. But you know, in hearing you talk, I was wondering, are there any invisible forces, you know, on Earth influencing human behavior? You think, or what's something in your book that would generally scare people if they believed it, or you know, stuff like that? And you know, I was thinking as you were talking.
So when we get to book 2. And I'll let it out here. The resonance itself it moves through every form of life on Earth. It's what keeps the Earth going and living. What keeps the plant growing. It's what causes everything to react like it's reacting in the Earth itself. That same resonance has different. It has characters that are part of the prime group that come alive, and they assist the Micronauts. They are neutral. They're not on any one side, but what their job is to keep the balance. And it's to keep the balance between man and insect as they go through this whole deal.
So you said it's spiritual?
It's spiritual, and then and then we have what we call a character called Varkeen, who is actually, believe it or not, is a beetle, but because man had been there before, the beetles were the chosen insect to be like the priesthood type deal. And so they have this one beetle that is the queen's envoy that ends up tracking along with the tree division in order to teach them things as they go along about the earth as a whole.
That's deep.
Diedrich, there's also too a Marvel comic book with the name Micronauts. Will that cause any kind of confusion or problems?
I hope not. Because ironically enough, I've never heard of that comic book. But on my Facebook page, a guy piped in and said, I used to play with these Micronauts when I was a kid. So I say, what? I say, no, because everybody think their idea is the first idea, right?
Right.
So, but then I looked it up and I saw that there were Micronauts Micronauts, but they are not similar and they're very different to what I have.
Right. Okay. And you know, when you were talking about for 30 years this was in your mind, it kind of reminds me of myself when I was in the Army and I was thinking of all these characters, but I was too busy with the Army to actually work on them. But it was haunting me. I was constantly thinking about them. And now that I'm retired, I'm bringing them all out. So, did you go through that same experience where you're just constantly thinking of it?
I guess I could call it a haunting, if you will. Like you, I worked for 25 years down here with Travis County. I actually was a a deputy, a sergeant down here, retired, and like I said, I will always talk about it with my wife and my children and that type of deal and run through it, and it just turns out I took their advice this time because they said, Dad, why don't you write that down and make it into a book, because I talked about it so much, and with them it's so vivid. You know, because you're authors, you see these things in your mind, whether you can come up with the wording or not. You see it in your mind is just like it's there.
What's your personal experience that really, because usually when you have something this deep and it carries you like that, it's like some kind of experience that moved you. Was there any personal experience with this?
No, I don't think so. Other than as a child, I did play by myself a lot.
Okay, I did. Were you only child?
And I was not the only child,
Okay.
but I have two sisters, and my